What's up?
Hey, what's up, good people in New Bedford? My name is Steve Lopes, along with D-Con over here. And we're ready to break down this Super Bowl that just played this week. I think it caught a few of us off guard how it ended up playing out.
Well, what do you think? Did you think that was going to be a blowout like it was?
No. But when we sat here last week, I said the coaching advantage was going to be huge for Kansas City, and they were the ones that didn't make no adjustments. I felt like the Eagles, Sirianni and everybody, took a page out of the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense when they played Mr. Mahomes and disrupted him and made him move his feet, made him very uncomfortable, and that rendered him pretty ineffective for what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know. But I don't know. I think Mr. Hertz came up big.
Oh yeah,
he played a hell of a game.
But to me, that was the second issue. I thought the defense controlled how the game played out. That's why I said they took a page from what Tampa Bay did when they had all those mean defensive linemen, got pressure up the middle, and really disrupted the way Mahomes. He couldn't get off his first reads. He didn't have time to wait for a second option.
That D-line was.
And the running game never showed up.
That D-line was nuts.
Yeah. So you got that. And then the adjustments I thought Andy Reid would make on offense, Sirianni and Kellen Moore made for Philly. Everybody was like, they got to stop Barkley. Well, they did that. But they didn't stop nobody else. Yeah. Mainly, like you mentioned, Mr. Hertz.
Joey Fats, I don't believe that. Yeah, you're saying that because you're a Denver fan. If you wasn't a Denver fan, you wouldn't be saying that. I don't think anybody in their right mind thinks Mahomes is overrated.
And I'm looking at the comments to see how long before our Philly fan from last week.
Yeah, Mr. Savulu, I'm waiting for him.
He's going to be chiming in real quick.
I already gave him his flowers on Facebook, so but I'll do it again on the show.
But what did you think about the Philly offense? Like, we expected Barkley, but I think Philly knew they're going to try to shut down Barkley. We got to beat them another way, and they just spread the ball out with everything else they had.
Yeah, they did, and I believe we said that last week as well. In order to beat Philly, you have to shut down Barkley and make everybody else beat you, and that's what.
And if I would have saw the yards that Barkley had running, I would have figured KC had an easy time of it.
No.
And it should have been a lot worse. But by the time Patrick Mahomes got a few touchdowns, the game was already out of reach, so it made it look somewhat closer than it really was. It was truly a blowout. It wasn't competitive. Like, I couldn't get excited because the game wasn't close.
No, it definitely wasn't. It wasn't. Philly grabbed it and ran with it, and that's that.
What did you think about the way Jalen Hurts managed the game? Or was it the way Kellen Moore play called the game? Or was it some combination of both?
I thought it was both. Like, Kellen Moore, he called a hell of a game. And Jalen Hurts executed the game plan, and kudos to the defense, like we said already. But.
And the one thing I'm glad about, we remember the last time Philly went to the Super Bowl, and then last year they had a down year. Everybody was calling for Sirianni's job because he lost his two coordinators. The relationship between Sirianni and Jalen Hurts fell off, and Hurts didn't have. Everybody was saying Hurts ain't the long-term guy. Sirianni needs to be fired. They bring in Kellen Moore, who obviously relates to Hurts a little better and uses them in a way that Hurts feels more comfortable in the offense, different reads and different play calling. And I think Kellen Moore made a big difference because I know that Sirianni and Hurts were struggling all last year, and I thought one of them was going to go. Like, Sirianni was this close from getting fired.
But I'm not going to make excuses, but Hurts was hurt last year. He wasn't healthy at all.
No.
And the offense they lost both offense and defense coordinators the year before.
Yeah.
So that I'm sure that
you saw that happen. Anytime somebody has success, they come calling for the people responsible for that success.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, man. But
Well, I was glad to see both of those guys get more love and respect for what they do. Sirianni's a better coach than what people gave him credit for, and Jalen Hurts definitely showed that he can win a big ball game, and he's more than just a game manager. It's not that hard when you got Saquon back there, and then you got Devontae Smith, and then you got AJ Brown, and then you got Zach Goddard that played very well, and that offensive line. The physical size difference between Philly's offensive line and and Kansas City strong, they got manhandled.
they sure did.
We didn't see the pressure on them. They weren't running. Usually KC's strongest foothold on defense is them getting pressure on the quarterback. Philly didn't run the ball that good. So you played into Kansas City's game plan, but you were successful, against that style. And I thought Kansas City's defense got exposed in areas like the linebackers. They weren't coming up to stop the little bit of run that was going out. They weren't covering Goddard out of the backfield. He caught a couple of key catches.
The DBs
and McDuffie and
the DBs didn't have a good game.
They didn't. They're much better. We've seen McDuffie and the other kid, other good cornerback. It wasn't their best moment.
Nope. But you know what I think that's key to? The defensive line not getting pressure.
Yeah, they had to cover too long.
So,
and that's another credit to Hurts. He didn't take off and run out of the pocket at the first sign of trouble. He hung in there. He allowed things to develop. And because there was no pressure, he was able to stay there a little longer. And they got too many weapons between Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and Dallas Goddard. Like somebody eventually was going to break coverage, throw it to the backside of the backfield. But I felt like Philly had no trouble moving the ball whatsoever.
None. I didn't see any.
So that's what we thought Philly did well. What did we think Kansas City not do well that put them in that position?
They didn't move the ball in the first half. They had 40. Mahomes, I'm not mistaken. Mahomes had 41 passing yards in the first half.
And he had 2 interceptions. Were they both in the first half, or did he spread them out? But I know he had 2 interceptions.
I'm not positive.
Either by halftime or like halfway through the third quarter. I knew he threw 2 picks, which is a little uncharacteristic for him to make mistakes in big games. But he was feeling the pressure. He was losing patience with. I think he took more chances than he wanted to. And the pick off by Cooper DeJean was huge.
They were both pick sixes, if I'm not mistaken.
Did Quinion Mitchell take it back?
Did that one got called back? When the guy with 2 names. Oh shit. Safety there.
Oh. Well.
I can't even think of his name right now. Hold on. My CJ Gardner-Johnson, his pick callback.
I'm not sure. I know they ran 1 pick 6 back. I know they picked them off twice, but I didn't think they had 2 pick 6s. I know Cooper DeJean was a pick 6.
Oh, they must have called Gardner-Johnson's back because he had a pick 6 as well.
But he, they still had 2 legit interceptions. One got ran back, and one probably put him in very good field position where it shortened the field. They didn't have to drive as long.
You know who had a big game was Josh Sweat.
Yes, he just made himself a lot of money because I was going to save that for a little bit later because I was going to say, just like you said, you lost the coordinators, and that's going to happen to Philly now. That happened to you guys already. But they have to make some decisions on 6 key people, and he'll be one of them. But let's just save that. Nope, Shane on him. Only 1 pick 6. All right, thanks. Yep. But the defense did score. And by the way, I know brother Landon is really happy because I believe he's an Eagles fan.
Who cares about him right now?
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
Who cares about him right now?
Yeah. I'm going to call Landon and tell him you're talking about
No,
him.
he knows. He knows.
He's going to say, D-Con already called me and congratulated me. He's acting all funny now.
Nah, I didn't call him.
Call him, text him, hit him on Facebook, something. You had to contact him somehow. I know he's an Eagles fan.
I'll see him in person and flip him off.
Oh, okay. But what else did Kansas City was they ineffective at? I was really disappointed that Andy Reid did not adjust quicker. I don't even know if they tried to run. I wonder how many rushing attempts they had. I felt like they were trying to pass and they were just running into a brick wall.
They had 11. 11
11 what?
rushing attempts.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't, and I bet you some of those were Mahomes running and getting past the line of scrimmage.
Patrick Mahomes had 4. Kareem Hunt had 3. P. Ryan had 1, and Pacheco had 3.
How do you justify that? Because if the passing game, yeah, that's your bread and butter, but it's not working.
They got down.
Let's try to run.
They got down too quick, I guess. But that's awful. 11 carries, 11 rushes. That's awful. The longest rusher was 8 yards. P. Ryan had 8, and then Mahomes' longest one was 8. That's awful.
So they didn't even try to establish a running game. The passing game got shut down. They had 2 key turnovers.
I think the biggest key, and I said it earlier in the season, and I'm going to say it again. Kelsey. He was out
People
of shape.
figured out,
He's out of shape.
so he couldn't sit down in that zone.
Nope.
and-
He you could see it. Like, that dude's never had a belly. He's never had a belly.
He did mention something about his girlfriend cooking some.
She don't cook.
I know. I thought it was a jab at her cooking, but he was like, "Oh, she's the best at making Pop-Tarts or something like." I was like, "Pop-Tarts."
Yeah, that's
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Mr. Pius.
Hey, I already gave you your flowers. I'm not giving.
I know. I was waiting because he kept trying to tell us last week, and he picked Philly big, and we thought he was on. We thought he was high.
Yeah.
Now it looks like we were high. Congratulations, sir. Well deserved.
I thought I blocked you from this post. I guess I didn't. Nah, man. Congratulations, brother. Now we're just waiting on Marcel. Once we get Marcel, we can start the shit talking back up again. But yeah, man. I don't know, man. That game was very, from a football fan standpoint, that game was very boring. If you're a Philly fan, it was very exciting. But any other fan, it was a very boring Super Bowl.
But that's a credit to Philly.
Yes, no.
Philly made it a non-competitive game. We expected more.
Philly made it their game. He ain't coming. We'll see. I hit him up. We'll see what happens.
Who?
Marcel.
Oh, yeah. I know he was hunkered down with his dad.
Yeah, I think neither one of them had a game since Sunday. But it's all right. It's only a sport.
So, Mr. Pius, in your estimation, what was the game changer? We're thinking the defense, but in your eyes, what do you see as the reason why Philly was able to dominate so much on both sides of the ball? I'm just curious to differ because your defense was super incredible against the run and against the pass. And right before you came on, me and Derek were kind of astonished because Kansas City only had 11 rushing attempts. Now, you look at the stats, and Mahomes ended up with 256 yards. But a lot of that was in garbage time. A lot of that was a long play to Xavier Worthy when the second team defense was in. And,
Worthy was 8 for 157.
Right. He was their only bright spot. But 60 of those yards in that second touchdown came. But Worthy was effective. He was the only one, because of his pure speed, I think, was able to get himself open.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. P. Mass. That's not Paul Massey. PM Mass.
That's his son.
Oh, okay.
That's his son.
He's an Eagles fan too?
He might be. I'm not positive on that, but he might be.
All right.
I know his father's a Colts fan, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I knew that part. That's why I was like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. But like we said, we went over the rushing stats. Mahomes 4 for 25, Hunt 3 for 9, Sammy Perrine 1 for 8, Pacheco 3 for 7, 11 total rushes for 49 yards with a long of 8. How do you not? You only tried 11 attempts. To me, that's like 3 series. You ran the ball 2 or 3 times and you didn't do. But one other thing I was really impressed with.
What's that?
Another thing that I gave the advantage to the Eagles and the kicking game. I gave the coaching game advantage. Reed got outcoached. I gave the quarterback comparison to Mahomes. He got outplayed by Hurts. And I said that Harrison Butker would be more effective in this game. He had 0 points, not 1 field goal, not 1 extra point.
Nope.
Because by the time they scored, it was late in the game. They were going for 2.
Yeah, what was it? The third quarter when they scored, they went for 2.
Because they were down so big already.
Yeah, they went for 2. And that was so stupid. They went for 2. They were down big with like
1 point,
like
1
30
point more wasn't making a big
like
difference
30
at that
something
point.
seconds left in the quarter. I would have won that square.
Well, I know in the pool we were in, I had a lot of Kansas City Chiefs that didn't produce.
Yeah.
Kelsey,
How much?
Bucker, both running backs that if the whole team combined for 48 yards and 11 carries, I got goose eggs in the running game, the kicking game. Mahomes wasn't playing well until the garbage time, the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter when he finally got them on the board. But, I mean, damn, he had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, but I don't remember when that first touchdown came, but I know 2 of them came in the fourth quarter and the game was already out of reach. The only person that came to play for Kansas City was Worthy.
That's it.
So I talked earlier about how they stole a page from Tampa Bay. And yeah, I said Smitty and I said Xavier Worthy. And I had both of them guys. They both had good games. But I said Smitty's been forgotten about and he's got that speed. People forget about him because of A.J. Brown on the team and all that. So he's going up against somebody's number 2. He's a number 1 receiver just because he's small.
Kid got speed and he got hands.
I'm glad you remembered that because I definitely said Smitty and Xavier Worthy were my surprise picks to have big games. That's the only thing I got right about the Super Bowl. That and what time it came on. That was it.
Fun fact: I think they said that Smitty's he's the 5th player to win a Super Bowl, score a touchdown, win the Heisman, win a Natty.
He won everything but his high school because I saw that stat and it said he lost in the New Orleans state championship game. And then he won 2 championships at Alabama. He won a Heisman Trophy. He's won a championship in the NFL. So
yeah, but I'm saying that he's one of 5. The other ones were Tony Dorsett. No, I can't think of the other ones. Reggie Bush. I had them all in my head now. Now they're gone. It was Tony Dorsett, Tony Dorsett, Reggie Bush.
Well, I'm sure they'll come to mind. But I'm looking at a very interesting stat that I overlooked until just now when I clicked on the Eagles' stats. Do you realize?
Oh, now they're going to answer you.
How much rushing yards Jalen Hurts had?
No.
He also had 11 carries, same amount as Kansas City, for 78 yards and a touchdown. So he outrushed the entire Chiefs team from the quarterback position.
He was running the ball well.
Not only that, his efficiency, 17 out of 22. No wasted passes. Everything was high percentage. I mean, 17 out of 22 in the Super Bowl. He didn't throw an abundance of passes, but when he threw, he was very effective. And he had 2 TDs. He ended up with 1 interception. He got sacked twice, but he had a 119.7 rating. People, like I said, were writing off Sirianni, and they were writing off Hurts after 1 bad year. They had already gotten to the Super Bowl, played Kansas City down to the tooth and nail at the end and came up a little short. And because they didn't go back to the Super Bowl the next year, both those guys were considered dog crap in Philly. They wanted, their fans were hard on them, man, and the media was hard on them. Mr. Pyers, were you one of the people when you lost the first time you were down on Sirianni or down on Hurts? Like, did you think that they both were going to get back there, or were you looking for a change? All right. So when they lost the first time, you weren't pushing no blame on Hurts. You just figured, he was hurt. I mean, that's one thing people overlook. Derek mentioned earlier, Hurts was hurt the year after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the same player he was. This year, he's healthy, 1 year removed, and he's right back in the Super Bowl. But I think
Saquon had a lot to do with that as well.
Yes.
Though. But I'm not going to take anything away from Hurts, but because he's the so-called leader of the team, being the quarterback.
To me, there was no question on the MVP when the game ended.
Yeah. Because
everybody else contributed, but Hurts was the engine that ran it. He put him in a position. What about Coach Sirianni? Were you disappointed with him the year after the Super Bowl because you guys are down? Because the relationship with him and Hurts was real fuzzy for a while. And they weren't getting along, combined with Hurts being hurt. But then they brought in Kellen Moore, and he seemed to rebuild that relationship and that trust with Hurts. He felt like he worked well with Hurts. Sirianni just turned Kellen Moore to Hurts and said, hey.
Whoever said Saquon wouldn't be a difference maker doesn't know anything about football.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year. Now, that's the one thing that I was wrong too. I said the one thing if Kansas City does was stop Saquon and they'd have a chance to win. Saquon didn't explode, but Philly exploded all over Kansas City without Saquon having a big game.
Saquon was quiet.
Yeah. So. But yeah, everybody knows that if Saquon stays healthy, he's a top 3 running back in the league. Yeah. I mean, you got him, you got Derrick Henry. So there's going to be a debate. Henry's getting a little older, but he's top 2, top 3 in the league if he's healthy. The only thing that stopped either one of those guys has been injuries. And unfortunately, Barkley was hurt like 2 years in a row with the Giants. And
the question is, was he really hurt? Or did he just have giant fever?
Maybe a combination of both. I know he was legit hurt.
I know
the first time he got hurt.
I know his feelings were hurt when they signed Mr. Jones instead of him.
Yeah, but that was the last year. That was going into the offseason. Yes, I agree. And they accomplished that, but got exposed everywhere else. Yes, we're all giving credit to the defense because the run and pass defense was incredible. And hats off to that young secondary. Oh, my God. They drafted both those young guys, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And they knew they were going to be plug-and-play guys. The only reason people weren't higher on Cooper DeJean is because he got hurt after 4 games in Iowa. So his stock went down. But he got healthy. He didn't have a major injury. He got healthy, and he was a second-round pick who fell to them in the second round. They fixed their defensive backfield with 1 draft, 2 picks, and boom. And I think we might have talked at another time and said, Philly has drafted well the last 3 drafts because when you get Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in consecutive years, and then you grab these 2 defensive backs, they also drafted Devontae Smith when people thought, oh, that's a little too high for him to get taken. They traded. Jeffrey Lurie and his whole staff, Howie Roseman is the general manager, they've done a really good job of drafting that team and building that team. But it just they were so effective that the game became a blow and unattractive. But hey, you got to go for the win. Us as fans feel like, hey, we got gypped out of a competitive game, but there was nothing anybody could do about it. Now, what Kansas City's going to do now?
Hold on. Before we stop talking about this defense, like I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again, where Mr. Savulo could hear me because I don't think he was on the first time I said it. I understand that they gave the MVP to Hurts because of what he did, but
as an individual,
if there was to give it to a defensive player, I'm giving it to Mr. Sweat. He had the pressure.
I wish the whole defense could have shared it.
No, but I'm saying
I don't think that's ever happened.
But I'm saying if it's an individual, I'm giving it to Mr. Sweat because he had a tons of pressures. He had 2.5 sacks. The dude was in Mahomes' face all game long.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to give it to him.
Nah, hey, Mr. Pies, I love you guys for that. You know, I'm a Vikings fan, and I was like, damn, we got so close to Justin Jefferson, and they're going to take him in Philly, and then they took the dude that didn't work out there from Texas Tech or something. I forgot his name. And Jefferson fell in our lap, and I was like, I can't believe it. So thank you very much for that huge favor. You helped turn my franchise around. Now, real quick, we alluded to what both teams have to do. KC got exposed the same way they did when they got beat by Tampa Bay. They got to go out and get themselves an offensive line. People said they need a new playmaker, but they'll get the young boy that got hurt, the one that was driving fast that got hurt. He was having a great year as a second-year dude.
Look at Jamal, another Philly. Jamal, so all the Philly fans are coming out today.
Jalen Reagor, yeah.
I like this.
Thank you for that. Because you left Justin Jefferson for my Vikings, so thank you.
I like this.
Thank you. And he's bounced around everywhere since then.
All these Eagles fans coming out today. I like it.
So we'll just bypass Kansas City right now. What's the challenges with Philly? Because you mentioned Josh Sweat. He's one of the 6 or 7 key free agents that they're going to try to keep. Guys, who absolutely has to stay? Because who was that defensive lineman that had a great game? They're saying he's going to get crazy off his.
I was just looking at it.
One of these guys is going to hit it up in 1 second, but
I'll tell you right now.
as soon as I hear it, I'll know it. But they got him. They got Mr. Sweat. They got the linebacker. Who was the linebacker that was really good for them?
Zach Bond.
Yeah.
Joshua. The other.
I think Sweat's going to outprice himself. Yeah. Zach Bond has to stay. Correct, Jamal. Correct. Milton Williams. Yes, Jamal.
There you go.
So they can't afford all 3 of those guys. Unless you don't sign nobody else.
They only have if I'm not mistaken, they only have like 13 million in cap space right now.
Right. They're tight against the cap. They're all going to want raises. Yeah. Gainwell is also a free agent. I think I'd let him go. You can find somebody in the draft and use the money from him. I think their offensive line is all set. I think their wide receivers are all set. Sweat and Williams.
Jordan Davis.
Going to get paid. No, Jordan Davis got 1 more year on his rookie contract. But they're going to get overpaid. Yes. And that's why I think it's going to be hard for Philly because you're already up against the cap. So do you focus on Bain right away and just be like, or Zach Bond, Zach Bond, and you sign him right off the rip before free agency even starts? You already, hey, we're re-signing him. We're keeping him because you can afford to keep him. I think Williams played himself into a huge contract, and I think Sweat played himself into a huge contract.
So which one do they keep?
I think they keep the linebacker first, and then they're going to make a decision on one of those 2.
They can't.
It's still going to be expensive. Whispers of Garrett as well.
You don't have 25.
You don't have the money for Garrett.
He got 40 million a year, bro. You don't have that.
That's going to be a Commanders or a Cowboys.
Who?
Garrett being in the running for him.
You better hope Detroit don't get him.
Well, Detroit will be in the running too.
We got the cap space for him.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's other teams that have more money that can, like, if you can offer him $35 million a year,
we can offer him $40 million.
Yeah, but they can't because they only got $11 million, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 13.
13? I know they don't have a lot. Howie is a wizard, but how are you creating that money, Jamal? Who are you getting rid of? There's Gainwell.
You got to get rid
of
Sweat.
There's other free agents I'm not thinking of.
You got to get rid of Saquon.
Nah, hold on. Hold on. I hate to do this live on air, but I need to find out.
Yeah, you have 13 million. That's not enough.
Who are the Philadelphia Eagles free agents at the end of this season? All right. Mekhi Becton, who you signed off the scrap heap because he was always hurt in New York. He did a good job filling in.
36 million.
God tackle Jack Driscoll. I don't think he's somebody.
36 million still not enough. The guy's gonna.
That's going to be one.
He's got 2 years, 125 million, brother.
How good is cornerback Avonte Maddox or Isaiah Rodgers? I don't think they're big. Yeah, they might be backup dudes. You're gonna have to let them go. But Mekhi Becton is somebody you might want to consider. He played well, and you want to have depth at the offensive line.
Brockton. You have a guy named Brockton on your team?
Becton is who I think he's talking about.
Bro.
Because there's nobody else named Brockton that's a free agent. Eagles pending free agents who could fit with the Lions. What? Why is this? Let's see. All right. So who are we trying?
Oh, you remember Becton. All right.
Yeah, Becton. That's what I was saying. Becton played well enough to earn a new contract. Philly knows that.
Yeah.
But so does the rest of the league. So somebody else is figuring Kansas City might go after Becton now. Just because. All right. But
Nathan Victor.
They're not drafting any time near the top of the draft. So what type of quality is going to be? You don't have pieces to trade to mortgage the future to move up to a top 10 pick. You use those 2 years in a row with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. You got your defensive line long-term people.
But I don't know. We'll see.
So Our offensive line coach is the key. Stoutland University.
We're not talking about your offensive line. Your offensive line ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
right
your
now.
offensive line is in decent shape. But it would be nice to bring back Becton. But you're not going to keep all three of those big free agents. So I say you sign the linebacker first because he'll probably be the cheapest. But the nose tackle and the defensive end, man, they're gonna get overpaid, man. They're gonna make it impossible to sign them on that team. Well, you might have to let Becton go, even though he was. Yeah, I agree, Jamal. You have to keep him. I didn't even know who he was. He came over on a 1-year deal from somebody else, didn't he? Like, I could have sworn.
Yeah, I think
Sweat
Sweat's
is
gone.
way too expensive. He's going to be $27 million or more, and you don't have money to pay one guy like that.
What do you have?
Because Gainwell doesn't make that much. I don't think he's the guy you can let go. Mekhi Becton is probably making peanuts because he was on a 1-year prove-it contract. Because he didn't get re-signed with the Jets. He got picked up for 1 year to see if he could stay healthy, and he played well. How much you think Bond's going to get on the free agent market? What's the going rate for a linebacker?
Not positive on that one.
All right. What's the current franchise tag for linebackers in the NFL right now? $24 million is the average or the non-exclusive franchise tag. So that means other teams can bid on them. That's non-exclusive, right? So that's a high number. So we definitely give Bond that $24 million. And I don't know where else the money comes to get anybody else. But that's the fruits. That's the disappointment of having a winning team. Every year, whoever wins the Super Bowl, whoever's the runner-up, people come for their coordinators, people come for their free agents because they want to have success that these teams had. So everybody wants to have, they were on the biggest stage showcasing their talents. They all made themselves a lot more money. So I think the hardest thing in the world is to repeat, which is why I gave Kansas City so much credit going for 3 in a row. Somehow they found a way to keep their players in check, and they had a lot of moving pieces. They let Tyreek Hill go. They let other people go. They brought in, free agents that weren't in high demand, like Schuster and Hollywood Brown, and they got lucky with the draft pick. Is his last name Rob? What was the kid that got hurt from Kansas City? The one that blew out his knee, but but for Philly, free agency is going to be a tricky slope to navigate. Did they replace Kellen Moore yet? I thought they named somebody, but it wasn't somebody I was familiar with. I thought they named the new offensive coordinator.
I didn't hear anything yet.
Because if not, they still got to.
Kellen Moore was hired yesterday?
Yeah, I thought I saw something where their offensive coordinator.
Josh Sweat. He was only signed for 1 year for $10 million.
Yeah, he was on.
He was on a 1-year contract.
Yeah. They traded him last year because he was on an expiring contract. He didn't have a great year last year. He was only so they gave him $10 million as a prove it, and now he's going to be like, I'm going to get what I deserve and make up from what I didn't get, only making $10 million. All right, so you need an OC, but the defense is going to be the biggest challenge. Steichen back? Shane Steichen? Isn't he the coach of the Colts? Who's Frank Steichen? Frank Reich? I'm a little confused on that. Sweat bet on himself and got the bag. Good for him. Sure did. Sure did. So now the biggest challenge is they won the Super Bowl. They celebrated. Now it's time to refocus and get ready for free agency. And that's going to be a big headache. I don't know how many. Yeah, Shane. But he's the current coach of the Colts. I don't know about him leaving to go be a coordinator when he's already a head coach. I heard the guy that used to coach the Chargers, Staley,
Going where?
as the offensive coordinator is Philly. I heard his name was high on the list.
I don't know. I really haven't been following football anymore right now. I'm on to basketball.
All right, we'll let you get through the parade. Then you can start concentrating, And then you guys going up? You guys trying to take that ride to Philly and go join your brethren?
That's not worth it. That's not worth it. They put grease on the poles already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because somebody already died climbing a pole on Super Bowl night. It's always Philly that has problems like that. Okay.
Jamal's going. Be safe.
Yeah, don't
be safe out there, brother.
No drinking. Just go out there and enjoy yourself, man, and soak in the ambiance of a championship feeling. Enjoy it, but people try to have too much fun and get crazy, and that's how people end up getting hurt. But so we got anything else on
wow,
the
Jamal,
Super Bowl?
really? That's how you're doing it? That's how you're doing it? All right, brother. I feel you. I can't say much. I give it to you right now, but we'll see what happens next year again.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the local people go. Like I know Brian and them went up to the Celtics one last year.
Yeah.
I don't think there was as many. I saw people that went up to the Patriots when the Patriots had their run, the Red Sox.
Yeah, but that's close.
But I didn't hear anything crazy. But every time it's in Philly, we hear something tragic. Like people just go above and beyond, man.
It is what it is. Congratulations, Philly fans. That's the last you're going to hear it from me. And let's move on. Let's get away from this NFL stuff.
All right. So next topic. I want to talk about the moves the Red Sox made. Now, they just signed Bregman,
Mr. Bregman,
last night. Very, very expensive. But I like that it's only a short-term deal. They're not burying themselves. It's only 3 years. But I didn't see him getting $40 million, especially if who else was anybody else offering him close to that money? He's been on the market until almost the end of free agency. Did the Red Sox panic because they heard somebody else drive up the price, or somebody offered 35, so they're like, we got to get him?
I don't see where he's going to be playing second base, not third base.
They said that was a Devers decision, even though he's a better defensive player than Devers. He vetoed the move to first base and putting Casas at DH, which I think they're a much better defensive team doing that, because then you get the rookie to start at second base. That Roman Anthony, is that his name?
Roman.
There's two of them, one in the outfield, one at second base. But the guy at second base is ready to go.
He's a number two.
He's a number two prospect behind the pitcher.
Yeah,
behind the Japanese pitcher.
It's Roman.
I thought it was Roman Anthony.
I don't know. I can't. But I know it's Roman. I know his first name is Roman.
But you know what's going to happen? This is what I hate in Major League Baseball. They do the rookies dirty, because if they don't call them up until May 1st, they save a year of eligibility, or June 1st, one or the other. So we saw plenty of stud rookies that they earned a spot, but they started the season off so it doesn't start the clock of serviceable years. So that's a business move. I understand it, but I don't think that's right, because when them guys get real big, you're asking for a hometown discount. But when you have a time to develop a player and do right by the player, the team says, oh, no, it's business. We got to do this. But then when business got to get done and it's a Mookie Betts situation, oh, we can't pay you that type of money. And somebody else gladly does. And now he's got, 2 rings since he's left?
Right now they have Story at the shortstop.
Yeah, that'll last until like the first week of the season. He'll be hurt. He reminds me of Pedroia now. Like, he's a great player, but he's getting old, but he's going to get hurt.
Has he even played 10 games with the Red Sox?
He played like the first 2 weeks of the season, I think, last year, maybe the first month. Then he was out for like 3 months. Then he came back on a limited basis. Then he was back out again. But I'd be curious to see how many games he appeared in last year. And he's a great bat. But I wonder if they'd move Well, we got Marcelo Maya. That's a hot prospect. He's like our third highest prospect, but he's only like 20 years old. He got moved up to AAA last year. So
right now, the lineup is looking Duran in left, Bregman in second, Devers third, Cassius first, Story shortstop, Yoshida DH, Abreu
in the outfield, he's good.
right field, Wong Ketchin and Rafaela in center.
So the second rated rookie will not start because they got other their outfield. You're not beating out Dern and you're not beating out Rafaela right now.
No.
So you got a lot of young talent. I don't want them to trade. This is the first time in years that the Red Sox held on to their prospects because they always jumped the gun at the trade deadline and traded away their prospects for somebody to get over the hump, and it doesn't work out.
But they haven't been at the hump lately. So
yeah,
that's why they got these guys.
And I think the one thing when Epstein was there, he was trading our prospects and getting people that could help us win right away. And it worked out all right. I think we got 2 championships out of it. But then them guys get old or move on, become free agents, and you're looking down on the farm, and there's nobody worthwhile to bring up. Yeah. So right now, they say we got the first or second highest rated minor league farm system. So that's the everyday positions. Do you think Bregman will make the move to second? And like, I've never seen him play second. He said he doesn't have a problem.
He said he's played it 12 games, maybe. But he's a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, but it's just the opposite side of the field. It's a different vision of the game.
Mookie Betts came up as a second baseman
and moved to the outfield.
I
think moving to the outfield is an easier adjustment
than
last
year. Played shortstop and played it well.
Yep.
No, this guy's an everyday infielder, no matter what. There's no outfield. He's been playing infield all his life.
Okay.
So I think it'll be
anybody else. What do you think? The Japanese kid there,
Yoshida.
Yeah, did you expect more from him? I know he's a contact hitter. I know there was talk to moving him or the first baseman. I heard talks with going to Toronto trying to get Vlad Guerrero Jr. That didn't work out this year. But Yoshida can't be the cleanup hitter. Last year, you had a high average, no power guy hitting cleanup, and I was like,
but Cassius was hurt. Oh yeah. Cassius is going to be considered a power hitter.
Who's the dude that we lost to Baltimore that played real well? I wanted to keep him so bad.
The right fielder?
I forget his name. I don't know if he was a right fielder, but he left in free agency. He wasn't a younger dude. He was like, I don't know, 28 to 30 or something like that. But he had a great year for us.
Lefty.
And I just can't remember his name. But if you Google last year's roster, the name will come up. And as soon as I hear it, I'll know who it was. But that's a big bat to replace. That's where they're hoping Bregman comes in. But I think Bregman's power days are behind him. Last year, he hit 26 home runs. He wasn't hurt.
Who, Bregman?
Yeah. 26 is not big power numbers. Like, to be a power hitter, I think you got to be like 30 or more or 35 or more.
Rob Schneider, right?
Maybe. Who else? Who else was the outfielders last year? I don't think that was the name, though. O'Neill. Thank you. We lost O'Neill. What was O'Neill's first name? Tyler O'Neill? But I think Baltimore gave him a nice big contract, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, but he was hurt on and off, though, wasn't he?
His numbers are better than what Bregman did last year, which is why he was signed early in free agency. He was gone early. So, yep, O'Neill. So, I do like the moves. I'm not in love with the Bregman move. There was other guys I preferred out there because I just thought Bregman was a little too old to be making a long-term commitment. I'm all right with the 3 years, but I think if you're expecting more than 25 to 30 home runs from him, I'm hoping he hits for average. But you know what the biggest thing that he doesn't get credit for in our market yet, but the Houston team knew? He's a great clubhouse guy. He's great for team morale. He's great developing young players. He's a great teammate. Like, he's a very well-liked person who knows how to be a leader, and he's accomplished enough in his career to be well-respected. Boston only has Devers as like a veteran, and Devers ain't even that old. So you got another veteran in there, another voice besides Devers, and maybe Devers isn't big vocally. But I think Bregman will be well-respected from the player point of view, almost like a player-coach type thing, because he's been to World Series. He's tasted success.
He's 30 years old.
Who?
Bregman.
Yeah, and he got a 3-year contract. So, yeah, 30 to 33. But he used to run a little bit. I don't know how much he's running in the 30s.
His stats last year, 260.
260? I thought he hit higher than that.
260, 26 home runs, 75 RBIs, 151 hits.
How many games did he play? Because I don't think he was hurt. I want to say he played all but 20 games or something, which would be like 140, 142.
It's not giving me that. How many games did Alex Bregman play last year? 91 games.
That's it. So maybe that was the reason for his drop. I don't remember him being hurt last year. I remember the outfielder that's great for them always being hurt. But when he's healthy, he's a beast. Yeah, that's Deshaun's right. They said he's going to fit perfectly in the Fenway because of that short wall. He should be able to pepper the wall, no problem. He should have a high amount of doubles. He probably should get to 30 home runs if he plays more than 90 games.
This guy is he's a big Bregman guy.
Mm.
As soon as we signed Bregman, this guy was all, yeah, we just signed Bregman. It's like, big deal. He's always hurt.
I used to love Bregman when he was younger. I was like, wow. When he first came in, I was like,
he killed the Sox.
Yeah, but he killed a lot of people. We just saw us getting killed a lot. But they always beat the Yankees in the playoffs. Yeah, he always had Houston was a thorn in a lot of people's sides, and he was one of the people driving the offense.
Well, when you do this, curveball, slider. No.
375 average at Fenway. I'm sure that factored into it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
But I think for him to be effective, he has to stay healthy and play like 140 games.
3 years for 120?
Yeah. It's $40 million a year. So for $40 million, I want to see an immediate return. You're a veteran. You should be making sure. I mean, you got signed late, but you knew you were in free agency. I hope you were using the offseason to get in shape so you can prevent any injuries this year.
He had to be getting in shape because he contract. Otherwise, if you don't pass the physical and all that other stuff.
Well, he might pass the physical, but did he do enough to get in tip-top shape where he comes in as one of his best years as far as being in shape? Stronger. Drafted him in 2012, but he went to LSU and got drafted by Houston in 2015. All right. So if he's successful, I think our offense improved a lot from last year.
The crazy part about it is our offense wasn't the problem last year. It was our pitching.
Right. And that was going to be the next topic. Like, do you think they did enough on offense? Because then the other moves they did, there's a couple of chances, but if those chances pan out, I like the Zach Crochet move. He was the ace of the White Sox. He had great numbers on a team that had no offense.
Yeah.
You know, they couldn't score for him, but he made the All-Star game. You know what I mean? As the worst team in baseball. So he goes to the top of our rotation. Walker Buehler, to me, is the gem. He's the missing link. Like, if he stays healthy, he looked good in the last World Series. He came in, he shut the door down, and he looked good in the playoffs, but he didn't really have an effect. He was hurt so much in the regular season, but he's been hurt for like 2 or 3 years in a row. But if Walker Buehler is any semblance of himself, and he can settle into that number 2 or number 3 role, because Zach Crochet got to be number 1. Who was our number 1 last year that's still on the team? Was it
Tanner Hawk?
Tanner Hawk? If Tanner Hawk can drop down to the number 3 guy.
And then you got what is the
we got another guy that came over from the Nationals that was hurt that we're hoping he stays healthy too.
You get the little Spanish kid. Bella.
Brian Bella.
Bello.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, but all those guys have moved down the slot in the rotation. They all had to be
Hawk and Bello.
Hawk had to be a number one. Not anymore. If he can drop down to a number three, last year's number one. Chapman, I don't think is going to be the closer. I think he's going to be the setup guy. But they let all the good closers get gobbled up. I don't know if there's anybody else out there.
They might have to go with Chapman right now.
Yeah, because they waited too long. There was one or two that were still hanging out there.
Even if Chapman's throwing 100.
Oh, Lucas Giolito. I forgot about him. If he pans out, he was hurt the first year they got him.
Yeah.
This guy, but there was another guy that came over from the Nationals this year, and he's another reclamation project. If he can give us some innings this year and stay healthy, let me see something. Who was the pitcher that the Red Sox signed from the Washington Nationals as a free agent this year? I'm
not sure.
Why am I not seeing it? Who were the free agent pitchers that the Red Sox signed this offseason?
Not Liam Hendricks.
No, he's a mid guy. Let me see. Walker Buehler, Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Crochet.
I don't even see him. They signed a Giovanni Moran. Justin Wilson for the Mets.
I'm upset that I don't have his name at the tip of my tongue, but did Tanner Scott sign with somebody already? Did he recently sign? He was a big free agent closer that was out there.
Not sure.
Patrick Sandoval. That's his name. And Sandoval. Yep. We traded for Sandoval from the
Ready
Angels.
till next year.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Tanner Scott signed with the Dodgers.
The 28-year-old southpaw struggled for the Los Angeles Angels last year, and his season ended in June when he underwent Tommy John surgery. Yeah, so that makes he's not expected to return until the second half of the 2020. So June or July. Damn, that's right. Another freaking big name went there. So what happened with Kenley Jensen? We had him last year. Who did he sign with? Do you remember? He must have left during free agency, but I was all right with him.
Getting old.
What do you think of Aroldis Chapman is? I bet you they're around the same age. So what do you think overall about the moves they made on the pitching staff? Do you think Walker Buehler can stay healthy?
Hopefully.
He was so dominant 3 years ago.
Hopefully.
But to me, he's the main piece. Like if he can stay healthy and become the number 2, and Tanner Houck can move down to number 3, and then there was even somebody else that was decent for them.
Crazy. They could have a 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Where you got some tired arms that need some rehab that you don't have to go every 5 days. You can give some of them. Jansen went to the Angels. All right.
And not like you could every now and then throw one of them guys in the bullpen.
Yeah, middle relief.
Like a long bullpen, like somebody taking on the second inning or whatever.
And it will protect you against any type of short-term injury because if you have to go to a 5-man rotation, you got a 6-man rotation capable right now. So if everybody was to stay healthy, you can lower the expectancy of innings pitched. But if for some reason, somebody gets hurt, you got a starter that moves into a 5-man rotation right away, but you're going to lose that middle relief factor, which I think would be good. If they had a 6 guy to who hasn't pitched in a while, well, we can throw him in middle relief for 2 innings here just to get him some work, Cutter Crawford, that's the other guy I couldn't remember. He was all right. He wasn't a bum.
He led the league in home runs last year.
You're scared of. He led the league in home runs given.
Well, that's all right.
I think he started off the first half of the year good, and then people caught on to him the second time around, and he started getting tagged in the second half of the season. But he could be that middle relief guy.
Yeah.
Don't let people see him 2 times in the lineup. You know.
Yes, sir.
So I saw some predictions in the media outlets. How do you see the American East playing out 1 through 5?
American League East
Or is it only
tough.
4 now?
I think it's only 4, but that's tough because you got the Yankees is going to be tough.
Well, Yankees or Orioles are going to be 1 and 2. I still think the Orioles are better than the Yankees because they lost Soto. The Yankees improved their pitching.
Yeah,
but you can't lose a bat like Soto and think somebody. I mean, they did sign somebody else.
That's five teams in the.
All right, so who's number 1 for you?
Yankees.
You got the Yankees.
Yep.
Then Baltimore.
Yep.
All right, now it gets interesting.
If Boston can stay,
I don't think there's a sucky team in that division.
no. If Boston can stay consistent, they should finish 3rd.
That's what I had them at. If they stay away from long-term injury.
Same in the Tampa and Toronto.
Toronto, I thought, made some big moves. They re-signed Guerrero for something. I know they maintained him for another year, or they did something to keep him happy. But they signed a free agent, an everyday free agent, like a regular player, not a pitcher. And I think they got a pitcher. But I think they signed some more offense. Somebody went to Toronto because they were saying they needed to be able to score more runs. And I think a decent bat went to Toronto this year. But to be realistic, Yankees, Red Sox, Baltimore, woo! I still got Baltimore more well-rounded. I think Gunnar Henderson's going to be an MVP candidate.
He's a Red Sox diehard.
Yeah, so am I. But I want to be realistic. I'd love to see them be higher than Baltimore, but I think Baltimore's been the best team for 2 years. But last year, for whatever reason, their pitching failed them.
I think that the top 3, in my opinion, will probably be like all within 6 games.
If nobody suffers a major injury.
Yeah. If everybody stays healthy, it's going to be 6 games between the top 3.
Valley ain't staying with Toronto, and Anthony Santander. Yeah, Santander went there. And Mad Max is the pitcher they signed. Max Scherzer. He's got to stay healthy, though. I mean, he's getting up there in age.
I don't think he's been healthy the last 3
years. So I don't know how much Scherzer is going to help him, but Anthony Santander hits off for a low average, but he's going to hit 40 home runs. So you put him behind Vlad, and then don't they have a shortstop that is a young dude that's really, really good?
His father.
Somebody's son, that played for Colorado. His father played for Colorado. I remember that. He was an outfielder. Dante Bichette. Yeah. So, yeah, his son. But, Now, that reminds me, when I said I knew there was somebody I wanted to sign before Bregman, was a former Blue Jay who went to Toronto. I wanted Teoscar Escobar. Teoscar Hernandez.
He stayed in L.A.
Huh?
He stayed in L.A.
Right, but they re-signed him.
Yeah.
When he was a free agent, I wanted him to be our number 1 target over Bregman because he's younger.
He's an outfielder, though.
So what? We just needed a bat. We didn't need Bregman because he's an infielder. And I think they didn't go after Hernandez because they wanted to play the young guys. Like Duran's definitely going to start. So if you acquired Hernandez, was he going to have to DH? You would have had to probably trade the Japanese kid or something like that to make room for him. Because I would have had no problem putting him at DH, but that's who I really wanted. Charlie Perry, what's going on, man? That's not going to happen. But they've already talked to him about they went to Devers, and Devers doesn't want to move, even though Bregman is a much better defensive player.
Devers is the captain.
Devers struggled, though, to me, that gets away the talk about my defense.
He always struggled though.
But it would be easier for him to play. Yeah, our outfield is stacked with Duran, Abreu, and Rafaela. That's probably what. So he would have had to be the DH, and he could have rotated in that outfield to give people a. We could have gave somebody a break or made somebody else a DH or whatever the case is. But Deshaun, what do you think? Would you rather have Teoscar Hernandez or would you rather have Bregman? I know Derek said that you that you're a Bregman big time fan, right?
Oh, I don't say Red Sox, but he was happy when we got Bregman.
Oh, I thought he followed Bregman like it was one of his favorite players.
Nah. This guy's a Jacoby Ellsbury fan.
I used to like him when he was young, until he went to the Yankees. Roman Anthony. All right. He's the outfielder because I thought the second baseman was the number. Is Roman Anthony the outfielder or is he the second baseman? Because one of them's the number 2 and one of them's the number 5 prospect in all of baseball.
Roman Anthony's the outfielder.
He's the outfielder. I don't think we'll see him right away because he's not going to stop. And I think he'll definitely be one of those guys that comes in after June 1st so that the clock doesn't start on him till next year. Yeah. They'll see what they got with him. If somebody gets hurt, he'll play. But I don't want him to come up to sit on the bench. So
no, if he comes up, he's coming up.
If he comes up, it's going to be because somebody got hurt and we need a replacement.
Rafaela will have to go to the bench, I think.
But what was the name of the second baseman that's supposed to be another highly touted? That's why I didn't want to go after an infielder because I wanted to start our second baseman that was down at Pawtucket, the number 5 overall prospect. Christian Campbell, thank you. Marcelo Meyer, I think, is a year away, but if Trevor Story gets hurt, I think we'll see Meyer at some point in time. You got to remember, Meyer's only 21 years old or something like that. So he could get seasoned for a little while longer down on the farm. There's no immediate rush, but I'd like to see all 3 of those guys next year playing significantly with them.
You know what sucks is Pawtucket. It's not Pawtucket no more. It's fucking Worcester.
Yeah.
That's what's
a little bit longer drive to go see him play.
I'm good.
Well, Reggie Victor can go watch him. He's out there. We'll send him on a mission to be our scout. Let us know how the players are doing down on the farm. All right. Well, any other? Are we happy with the front office moves, or is there a move you wish the Red Sox would have made that they didn't? And I'm asking everybody that's online with us right now. Is there a move, pitcher or everyday player, that you guys wish our upper management would have made before the start of the season? Is it somebody who signed with somebody else that we should have made a bigger push for? Like I said, Teoscar Hernandez. Is there a pitcher that you really thought? I thought they did all right with the pitching, but so do I. I want Rafi to DH or play first, but on paper, I think our offense is going to look good if people stay healthy. But I'm not sold on Trevor Story staying healthy. I'm not sold on Bregman staying healthy.
I don't even understand why Trevor Story's still on our roster.
Because I think he's guaranteed money for a little while. I think he plays this year and he might only have 1 year. It'd be a lot easier to eat money because in baseball, is your money guaranteed?
I think so.
Like football, they get a signing bonus.
I'm not positive. I think so, though.
Because, Ohtani deferred almost all his money to retirement. He's making so much in endorsements in Japan and all that stuff that he can live comfortably off the money, but his retirement will be set up nice.
Sure. The money he got, his retirement for his grandkids will be all set.
Can you imagine he just leaves that money in the bank? Like I know there's been a couple of players. Gronk was one of them. They never touched their salary their whole career. They lived off their endorsement and public appearance money. And they were still comfortable. Now they're retired. You don't have to. Guaranteed money always in baseball. Wow. So like Shohei Ohtani, 700 and something or one. So that's all guaranteed money?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Unless they get like a career-ending injury or something, then I think the insurance might. That's why football has the signing bonuses now, because they didn't have guaranteed money, and that was the easiest sport to have a career-ending injury. So the signing bonuses guaranteed them at least half their money up front in case something happened. we kept Story because if he stays healthy, he's the best hitting shortstop in the American League. No, he isn't. Bobby Witt is, and so is Gunnar Henderson.
But what good is he if he's not available? The best ability is
availability.
and
so
he's not
Deshaun,
available.
Are you saying he's a better hitter at this stage of his career than Gunnar Henderson or Bobby Witt? I think Bobby Witt right now might be the number one overall shortstop in Major League Baseball.
Kansas City guy.
Yeah, he hits for average, for power. He runs. He's 22 years old or something like that.
Yeah, he's tough.
I know I'm not taking Story before I take.
What about the kid
Bobby
from
Witt?
Baltimore?
Yeah, that's Gunnar Henderson.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
But them two, and then you got the kid in Cincinnati.
Well, he said America.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking overall, but and then the other dude in Pittsburgh, if you're counting O'Neal Cruz, but he's had some injuries the last year and a half too. I hope Story stays healthy. I want to root for him. I want to see what he can bring to the Red Sox because he's another source of power from an unexpected spot. Story is capable of hitting 30 home runs. But he has to
start
play,
from the bench.
Yeah, he has to play at least 140 games to do that. If him and Bregman stay healthy, that's nice up the middle. Young guys get another year of seasoning down on the farm. Christian Campbell doesn't have to play right away. Marcelo Maya doesn't have to play right away.
They let Xander Bogaerts go for this kid's Story, and this kid's Story is not put on the uniform.
And I wonder if Story's making more than Bogaerts because I know Story got good money to come over.
I hope not.
No, he got good money. I just can't remember the numbers.
Bogey
He's
was
been
the
with
man.
us. This is like his third year with us now.
Bogey was the man. He hit for average. He was in the top 5 for average when he was with the Sox.
A fully healthy Story. So if he plays 140 games or better, you think he can put up a 300 average, 30 plus home runs, 90 RBIs. I mean, wait a minute.
With 90 to 100.
Oh, 90 to 100. I was just looking at the numbers like, wait a minute, which one's 90 and which one's 100? Besides Duran, where's our speed coming from?
Rafaela?
I didn't know that he was
that
that good on the steals.
That boy can move.
So we got two guys who can run a little bit. Story and Bregman could provide power from the middle infield positions. We know Rafael Devers, if he stays healthy, is going to hit 300, and he's going to hit some power numbers. I think the first baseman, is it Cassis?
Cassis. If
he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to. We've been waiting on him for like two years now. This has to be the year he shows improves. Well, because we tried to get rid of him during the offseason.
If he stays healthy, he's all right. You just got to stay healthy.
And then our Japanese friend,
he
runs a little bit too, right?
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but he's got to start hitting.
But will Hamilton be the backup second baseman this year with our prospect sitting down there at Pawtucket waiting to come aboard? You
think Hamilton's faster than Duran?
I'll take Duran's speed. I haven't seen Hamilton's speed like that, but he's one of our fastest. But I think
Duran's
Duran's
one of the fastest in the league.
Yeah,
that's me. That boy's dangerous.
I've seen that dude turn singles into doubles so simply, like not even contested at second. Gets on base, and next thing you know, he stole second and stole third.
Automatic. What? Yes. I got to see this kid then.
So is there anybody else out there that people say they wish they would have got? I think the closer, Scott. I would have liked to have seen us sign a dominant closer. I don't think Aroldis Chapman is the answer. I'm willing to take that chance with the rebuilt pitching style. I like Crochet. I like Tanner Houck dropping down to number 2, number 3. If Walker Buehler stays healthy, that's 3 viable options. And Brian Bello has to make a jump up too. He reminds me of Oil Can Boyd or a young Pedro. Like he's real thin and
He throws the ball hard.
He does. I don't know where he gets the torque from to throw so hard, but he's got to add another pitch to his repertoire so he's not so predictable. You got to have more than a fastball and a curve. Oh, you think that would happen? Toronto might go for that. trade Marcelo Meyer for Vlad because they know they're going to lose Vlad. But if the Red Sox have assurances that Vlad, because I heard he wants to go to Boston as one of his top 3 destinations. I just don't know how high up on the list. But Meyer's the guy that's going to replace Story in a year or two. So Bello, if he can find his stuff, I feel can be a young. That's what I just said. I don't know if he was hurt a lot last year, but I know he started off good, and then just like what was the other pitcher, Crawford? Like they started off pretty good, and I got all confident, and then they both got banged around like toward the middle of the season.
You can't just give up prospects like that, man. Come on.
Sick of hearing about who? Maya?
Yeah.
He's only 20 years old.
Exactly.
He got drafted at 18. He's played 2 years of minor league ball. Like, we don't need to rush him.
Let the kid develop.
And let him physically get bigger.
Let him develop. He hasn't even got his grown man strength
He gains another 10 pounds this year and plays shortstop. Now we're looking at somebody who's like 195, 200 playing shortstop. Now he has a little bit of pop in his bat. I mean, he already does, but
he ain't got the grown man power right now. He's just working on his swing.
And let him work on his confidence. If he's not going to play every day, I don't want to see him called up. I don't want to see none of these young guys rotting away on our bench. I want to see him playing somewhere. If we got room for him,
don't worry.
Play.
Story will be hurt by game 4.
Oh God.
So
I don't want to see Maya play under those conditions. I'd like to at least see 3 months of Story. And if he doesn't perform, then we bring Maya up and play him a little more. We trade Story at the trade deadline. Yes. I don't know where he fits in. We have enough contact hitters. That's an abundance of what we have. We have people that can hit for average and that can run. We need another power hitter or trade him for a closer or something.
Nobody wants him, though.
I think some people might want him. He's just small in stature. He's not going to hit for power.
You can't even get a twin popsicle for him right now.
You know who I heard was kind of in love with him? Was the Seattle Mariners because they need another contact hitter in their lineup. But what do they have? They got great starting pitching, but they didn't try to trade none of them dudes. They got like 3 or 4 like number 1 starters over there. And I'm like,
we're not gonna get a good pitcher for this kid. For Yoshida.
I think I would try to get a solid closer. I don't think Chapman. I'd rather go bullpen by committee. Get somebody else. Chapman's not built to be the everyday closer. He's too old. That's going to be too much wear and tear. If we're in close games, I think Chapman will wear down. Remember, he was effective throwing 100 miles an hour. After the last couple of years, I think he might be at 94, 95, which ain't. But he was more effective blowing people away.
105, 103.
Yeah, he's not. I don't see him getting up over 100 anymore. So. But I don't know, man. Any other surprises you think with the Red Sox? Anybody we're missing that might be capable of breaking out this year? Like I think Brian Bella has to break out. Brian Bale. And I agree that we have to do something with Yoshida. I just don't. I think he's just a redundance of talent. Like a bullpen. Get somebody that can help us strengthen our middle relief, strengthen our bullpen. Whatever we can get for him, because he's making a pretty penny because we signed him when he came over from Japan. We had to put that retainer out for him and guarantee us get that money off the books.
Yeah, a retainer was $50 million. Was a retainer.
He's not a bum, but I think we can get value that can help us right now. Like we're all thinking the Red Sox should finish at least in 3rd place if they stay healthy.
The Red Sox signed him because they thought they were going to have a shot at
a bigger power hitter.
The big guy.
Not Soto.
No.
Not Ohtani.
His best friend. I'm saying. Supposedly him and Ohtani were best friends.
Who is our catcher?
Connor Wong.
He wasn't bad.
No, he's not.
He's not elite.
And he got speed too.
But I'm not I'm all right with him because there's not a lot of dominant catches on I want a catcher who's good on defense. Can you call a good game and can you throw runners out stealing?
He's a strong arm.
I don't need him to be a hitter because there's enough people we're paying to hit. Well, we'll see. I don't know who's out there that people are willing to trade that can help the Red Sox right now, but I'd rather get middle relief or closer before I get a catcher. I just think those are more immediate situations to deal with right now. pitchers and catchers, did they report already? I thought some people started reporting this week,
I don't know.
and the everyday players, because usually in February, pitchers and catchers come a week before the regular players. So I think pitchers and catchers.
I'm not positive on the pitchers and catchers.
But they can't hit in Sable. What am I missing there?
We picked up 2 catchers, but they can't hit.
In
Sable's one of the guys, and another one from New York.
oh, that's his name.
Yeah.
When it said hit in, that sounded like
Yeah.
a city or a destination. So I was like, whoa.
I don't think he. I think he wanted to hit and.
Okay. Well, I'm more excited about the prospect of the Red Sox doing well this year than I have the last couple of years. I don't think we have a crazy payroll. I think we added some interesting pieces, but we're gambling on the health of Bregman and Story on offense, and we're gambling on Walker Buehler. Sandoval's not coming back to the second half, but if he does come back, you already said they got a 6-person rotation. Now he can be added to the 7th. I think he's the perfect candidate to be the middle reliever guy, so you don't put too much stress on his arm after he missed the whole year. 1 or 2 innings in middle relief would be great for Sandoval to come in that role right now.
The 3 catchers that the Red Sox have is Carlos Navarez, Blake Sable, and Connor Wong.
I'm not as familiar with Sable, but I thought Carlos Navarez, I forgot, I don't know if he played with Milwaukee or somebody else, but I thought he was decent.
He's only 26 years old.
Was it Cleveland?
The Venezuelan professional baseball catcher.
Who did he play for before? He played for somebody.
He played for the Yankees.
Oh, he did? Then I got the wrong guy. All right. So pitchers and catchers reported already. The rest will join soon. I think it's a 1-week difference, Deshaun. If they reported this Monday, you're going to see the everyday players come because they got to stretch out the pitches and, they're only going to throw a couple of innings a day. And each week they'll throw an extra inning, warming up until they can get themselves up to 5-6 innings. And then they'll use the regular season to go further than that. That's the other reason I think we need people in that middle relief. I don't want to see our pitchers having to go more than 5 innings, 6 at the most. Then you got to have somebody that can come in 7th, somebody that can come in 8th, and then you have your closer. But I'll be happy if we can get somebody to give us 5+ quality innings on a regular basis. 5 to 6 innings, I'm good. But somebody's got to be there to shut the door in the 7th and 8th inning. And I'd rather see Chapman move up to the 8th inning role. February 22nd, and that's only a week away, and the everyday players haven't.
No.
The first training game, spring training game, is February 22nd.
Yeah,
that's a week from Saturday.
Yeah, the players were probably coming in.
But the players are going to report this weekend. I'm saying they're only going to report 1 week and then already stop playing.
Yeah.
How do you get in shape? You're assuming that these baseball players are going to come in shape already?
They have to.
That's not what I normally see. I usually see guys struggling to get in shape, especially if you use other people's like Vlad Guerrero and stuff like that. It takes them a while to round into. Yes, I would love to see Chapman as a setup, so I would like to trade Yoshida for another closer that can split the duty.
February 14th, Cubs first full squad workout. February 15th, Dodgers. 16th and 18th, all other teams first full squad workouts.
Yeah, but they're only going to have
February 20th, first spring training games. March 13th, spring breakout games. March 18th, 19th, Tokyo Series. March 27th, opening day.
March 27th?
Yep. So I only got a month.
That's not that long, man.
Oh man, these guys better be. They have to have been working out if they're smart.
I think when you're a professional athlete, there should be no such thing as an off season. You don't have the everyday demand, but you don't stop working out. These guys, once you take a month off, you say, "All right, I'll get back." The longer you take off, the harder it is to get back into that routine. All right, another week.
What's that saying? Stay ready to be ready or whatever.
Yeah, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's what the box is saying is.
You can only get Gagne for Yoshida.
Gagne, the guy that's been retired for Greg Gagne?
Gary Gagne.
Oh, man. I don't know, but it seems like everybody's in agreement that we should try to move Yoshida. I don't think we're going to get top dollar for him, but if we can get somebody who can contribute middle relief or in the bullpen, I personally would be happy. All right. Now, I don't know if upper manager is thinking the same way because we always are armchair coaches and general managers.
We don't get paid the big dollars.
No, I have nothing to lose if I'm wrong, but the general manager or president could lose their job if they make the wrong move. I think they've done a good job not blowing up the budget and signing who, but the only thing I thought they blew the budget up on was Alex Bregman.
Yeah, 40 million, bro.
I would have gave him 35. But I'm glad it ain't a 5-year deal because I thought he was 32. You said he's only 30. So he'll be 33. So if he plays 2 years and then we have to cut him loose, we're not married to him forever, you know?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, they just go out and spend. But what I don't miss is something I don't know if you were on earlier. I didn't like, we'd go out and trade all our prospects to get somebody to help us right now. And then if we lose, or the team does, or that player doesn't resign with us, we do good. We won the World Series, and the people that helped us left, and all those prospects are playing for other teams for the next 10 years. I don't want to see us giving it. We got one of the best young organizations. I'm excited about Marcelo Mayer. I'm excited about Roman Anthony. I'm excited about the second baseman. I like our future. I don't know if we got any pitchers down on the farm. I didn't see none of them ranked in the top prospects.
I didn't see any in the top 100.
But at least I'm interested enough to tune in at the beginning. Last year, I was frustrated. Last year, I was like, for the third year in a row, and Charlie Perry can attest to this, it started off with watching Mookie Betts leave. And then
Charlie Perry's a Dodgers fan now.
Yeah.
Because of it.
But me and Charlie have talked about this on several occasions. He was mad because they didn't sign Mookie Betts and they didn't do nothing to add while they had him. So Mookie leads because they're not going to respect him and pay him what he's worth. The next year, we let Bogarts leave, and I think we let Nick Pivetta and somebody else that did well for us pitching-wise leave, and we got nothing. We never replaced them. We let the guys who did well for us just walk and got nothing for them. Left as free agents. Well, Mookie Betts we traded. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, we don't want them guys. Yeah. Oh, he's responding to Mig, yeah. Traded Betts, but got nothing in return. Now, Verdugo, who was supposed to be a hot shot's upset in New York and wants to get traded out of there. I think he might have got traded already. Yeah. Traded or he signed with another team.
Everybody's talking about Marcelo Mayer. What about Christian Campbell?
He's the second baseman. I just keep forgetting his name. He's the number 5 prospect in baseball.
7.
Huh?
7 right now. But
I keep forgetting that the pitcher moved up to number 1, and then
there's 2 pitchers in there. Without the pitchers, he's number 5. Oh no!
But his own teammates ahead of him, Roman Anthony.
Yeah, he's number 2.
Yep.
But he's an outfielder.
But I think
Roman
we got
Anthony's an outfielder.
Right, and I think because we identified the fact that it's a crowded, talented outfield, it'll be harder to use him right now, and I don't want him coming up to sit.
We don't want Verdugo back.
No, but he was the main piece we got as the hot prospect for Betts, and he never panned out.
Says he wants to come back to Boston so he can wear his chains and grow his beard.
Yeah, that's crazy that as an organization they still can't have facial hair and this and that.
You can't wear chains and nothing.
That's the tradition of the game. But the whole point was whether we made a trade or let him walk in free agency, we let all our big name stars go except for Devers. He's the only one we invested in. I still think we would have been better off keeping Bogarts and never making the move for Trevor Story.
And they got Franklin Reyes too. They got a lot of infielders, man.
Was he a prospect?
Yeah, he's 76, but he's in the top 100. He's a shortstop, second base.
All right, he's a shortstop, but he's the second shortstop in our own organization, so he's blocked by Marcelo Mayer.
He's 3rd, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Marcelo Mayer is the highest ranked shortstop in our organization. Yeah. I don't know who else we have. Correa for Yoshida, who's that?
Carlos Correa? Yeah, right. Get out of here. That won't happen.
From the Senators.
Minnesota.
Yeah, well, it says from the Senators. Reckless speculation. I was like, is that a different Correa? Maybe not Carlos? I thought Carlos was with the Twins. unless he.
No, he went to Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota Twins. Yeah,
I was gonna say, isn't that the Twins?
Yeah,
I know a little bit about Minnesota.
sorry.
Vikings.
Christian Campbell is the highest.
But he is on a downfall right now.
You hear me?
Huh?
Christian Campbell's the highest infielder. Christian Campbell's
I
seventh.
said Mayo was the highest shortstop.
Christian Campbell's second baseman, shortstop, outfielder.
Oh, I didn't know he played outfield, but that outfield is going to be hard to crack because we got a bunch of young dudes. So if we showcase the older dudes now and they have a decent year, come trade deadline time, somebody might be interested in somebody that can help them during the playoff run. If we're out of it, then we trade a Raffaello or somebody like that. We're not trading during.
No,
but then we can bring up Anthony and see what we got the second half of the season with him or from the trade deadline on. If one of them guys get hurt, I want to see the young guys play, but I don't want them to come up and sit on the bench and we never get to see them play.
Roman Anthony's only 22.
All of them guys are young. Look at Marcel Mayer. I don't even think he's 20 or 21 because he was 18 years old.
22.
Yeah,
Marcelo Mayer just turned 22.
Oh, he came out when he was 20 because I think he went to college. He came out, he played 1 year, and then he went right into the minor leagues, and now this will be his third year with the Red Sox.
Him and Christian Campbell are both 22. But Anthony's 20. Wow. And he's a lefty. He throws righty, but he bats lefty.
Oh, that's me. I do that too. I'm left-hand dominant, but I always threw the ball right-handed. Used to help me out in basketball because I always dribbled right-handed, but I took layups left-handed. Everybody, oh, nice. No, I'm left-handed. But I go with my right hand's my weak hand. I was like, it threw me off because when I run and jump, I still run and jump off my left foot, but my right hand's not my strong hand. So you didn't feel as, strong if you had to take a hit. But with my left hand, I was like, oh, well. So I used to jump off 2 feet and feel more confident with my left. Took a long time for people to figure that out. But baseball, yep. I used to hate when we played sandlot baseball. Oh, we're up the bat. Now you go out in the field and switch gloves with somebody. And everybody's trying to throw me a left-handed glove. And I was like, yo, I can't throw left-handed. And they're like, wow, you just batted left-handed. I was like, I throw right-handed, but I can't bat left-handed. Well, spring training is going to start in a week. I think we brought up some interesting points. At this point, the ball's not in our court. All I'm going to do is wish the best for the players we got. I don't think we're going to be out there trying to acquire anybody major, but I think what we can look for is if somebody gets cut or released right before the season starts, they still might be a decent middle reliever for us because maybe a younger guy beat them out as a closer or a younger guy beat out a middle reliever. And we might find somebody that somebody gave up on that will be inexpensive for us to put in that row as a Band-Aid until next year when we can really go after somebody. So anything else you want to add on baseball, D-Con?
Nope.
All right. Another topic that caught my eye this weekend. We've seen an increase in WNBA play, and we've seen an increase in the women's college game. The women's college game, the future is so bright because none of them girls can go hardship. This past weekend, we were treated to 2 great games. Texas, with Madison Booker, played at home against South Carolina. Now, they lost to South Carolina because remember, Texas is in that conference now.
Yeah.
So they got to play them twice. That's what I love. Everybody thought it was a football conference. But all those girls teams in basketball and all those guys teams in basketball are good too. So I think the SEC in men's basketball had 4 of the top 5 ranked teams in the country.
That was 1 through 4. It was 1, 2, 3, 4.
I know it was 4 out of 5 for sure.
I want to say it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because it was like Auburn, Tennessee. I forgot who I'm missing, but that conference was strong. But in the women's game,
because Duke lost.
Yeah, Duke was up
Duke
there.
was number 2.
But I think
UCLA lost too. So.
Yeah, but UCLA for men's team, I don't think was in the top 5. I know they started off slow and they were coming on, but Duke was definitely number 2 and they lost.
Auburn
lost.
They were number 1,
but they fell to number 3. But in the women's game, did you have a chance to see the South Carolina game or see the highlights of what happened with that game in Texas?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the score. But
all right. So in that game, they allowed them to play physical. And at halftime or the end of the first quarter, Dawn Staley made a statement like, allow the girls, because she has them playing aggressively, but they were trying to press. They were reaching. They were trying to block a lot of shots. And their press wasn't working because the girl who plays point for them, Morgan, but she came back from injury and she's their starting point guard now. And she was handling that press. She played with a knee brace on her leg, but she was handling the press very, very well, rendering South Carolina's constant pressure because South Carolina goes 10 deep. But they couldn't wear down Texas. And I'm going to find out the girl's name right now. That game was on Saturday, I believe. Yep. Yeah. All right. So, Ohio State, USC, Texas Tech, TCU. No, it was Sunday before the game. That's what it was. Because I remember I was downstairs watching it before I went upstairs. All right. So, Texas won 66-62. The game was in Texas. The crowd was crazy. Texas, to me, played a perfect game. Ronnie Harmon was the point guard's name. She only scored 4 points, and she had 4 assists. But she was able to break the press and take that element of pressure away from a pressing team. Madison Booker scored 20 points. Nobody else really scored big. They had the big girl off the bench. I can't say her name. Oldacre, but she had 13 points and 6 rebounds off the bench. So she contributed. So they controlled the boards. They didn't get out rebounded. The pressure didn't bother them. But then we look at what South Carolina did or didn't do. South Carolina never has somebody who goes for 20 because they got so many people. But their highest scoring person was the girl off the bench, Fulwiley, the 6th person off the bench. She had 13 points. After that, the freshman Edwards, who also comes off the bench, had 9. Chloe Kitts, the starting center, had 9. Tanina Paopao, the point guard, had 8. Brees Hall had 7. But nobody was dominant. They kept the game close with that style, but they didn't have anybody take over. Texas was out to a big lead during the first and second quarter, and Texas brought it back. South Carolina brought it back. South Carolina is a very good quality team that I think is capable of beating anybody. But now they got losses to UCLA, and they lost to Texas, who's top 5. Meanwhile, UCLA is still undefeated, and they own victories over South Carolina and is it Notre Dame? I think they beat Notre Dame.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Notre Dame beat USC. So yeah, they got 2 big wins, but UCLA, you play everybody in your conference twice, so they got 2 games still coming up against USC. So Juju against UCLA, those games are coming up. But my point is, there's a lot of good quality games.
They play them today.
Wow, look at that.
Juju needs like 31 points for something. I forget.
2,000. She only played 1 year, so that's going to be it. I think that game comes on at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I'll try to stay up and watch it
10
because
p.m.
even if I'm tired tomorrow, there it is. Michael Casaccio tonight, UCLA and USC, and Notre Dame versus Pitt, Miami versus NC State on Sunday, Sunday UConn versus South Carolina. And Nay Adams is playing against North Carolina State. They got a nice guard tandem. I think the girl's name is Rivers. Is it Mike Kahn that plays for North? There's a nice guard for North Carolina. So hopefully I'll be able to tune into that game, see how local native Nay Adams gets to play against, one of the best guards in the country, test her skills out. She's been doing great so far. But UCLA and USC, it's really not a road game for nobody. They're 8 miles apart from each other, I believe. But playing in one or the other's gym is a big deal because but I think the crowd's going to travel unless the home team limits how many tickets the visiting team can do, just so that they're louder in their home venue. So do you see an advantage with let's break down that UCLA USC game tonight. Who are you giving the edge to?
You have to give it to the edge. They're playing at USC, but you have to give the edge to the team that's undefeated.
Okay.
They're undefeated for a reason.
Yeah. But I think USC has something to prove because they've been beaten twice. And Juju has not been the Juju of last year, which is a hard expectation to have. I mean, she has a big transfer that came over from Stanford. She has a freshman she doesn't have to do as much, but she hasn't taken over and dominated like we saw her do last year. Her shooting percentages have not been as high as they were last year. This is a game for her to get back on track and get her name, because I've seen, you know what I saw was a travesty?
What's that?
At the beginning of the year, who were your top 5 picks for like chances for women's college player of the year?
That was Juju.
Yep.
Beckers.
Yep.
Uh,
Hannah Hidalgo, Betts from UCLA. But you know who they're not mentioning no more that they said fell off this year? Juju and Beckers. Gino called out Paige Beckers after their last loss to Tennessee. Our star players are not giving us star performances. Yeah, Jonathan, that was done on purpose. We knew about that game tonight, so we're wearing UCLA colors. Nah, that was just a happenstance, man. Happenstance. But glad you noticed that. Oh, that game's on tonight? It's already on?
That is 4 seconds left.
Yeah, he just posted that. I thought it was coming on tonight like 7, 8 o'clock or something like that. The game must have started at 5 or 6. That's an early start. I hate when they do that. They did that in the summertime with the WNBA games. I'd come out of work at 3 o'clock and there'd be 5 finals already because they played at 12 o'clock noon or 1 o'clock. You got to put them on. You got to put them on in prime time, man. We want to see those women play. We want to see them ball out. And they don't get the coverage that they should, but they should definitely make sure that the best games are playing in prime time.
They averaged 0 for 1, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 4 fouls.
How many minutes did you get?
It doesn't say.
All right, go to North Carolina State's box score, and as soon as you say the name, it's probably the leading scorer, but they got a guard that's very special. She was good last year, but she had a running partner. I think the running partner left, graduated. I want to say her name's Rivers. But I think she's an off guard and she can do everything. I saw her play well against South Carolina or somebody else, but she just didn't have enough help for the whole team to get over the hump.
The God?
Yeah.
Trigger, Brooks. Oh, there's Rivers. That's Rivers.
Yeah, that's her. What does she have for numbers?
Sanaya Rivers. 3 of 9, 1 of 4, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 points.
Not a good offensive game. I mean, she's got some rebounds and some assists, but. And did you look up how many minutes Nay Adams had on the court?
It's not saying.
Sometimes it just has that minutes played.
Yeah,
so,
but I think they're gonna do that at the end of when the game ends.
Mike Kahn, did you watch that game live? Can you spread some light on this? Like, do you know how many minutes Nay Adams got to play today in that crucial game? It's a 2-point game. And I know they still got the twins down there that Haley, what's the 2 twins that have those big endorsement contracts?
Cavender.
Yeah, Cavender's the starting point guard. And I believe they had somebody else.
Haley, whatever. Is it Haley?
Yeah. She's their leading scorer.
Yeah, Haley. She's 9 of 18.
50%. So that's 18 points without any threes.
She has 20 points.
Yeah, so either she got a couple of threes or she had a few free throws.
That's 2 of 5.
From
3. The other one 2 for 7, 0 for 5 from 3.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go home and take a nap so I can watch. I definitely want to see UCLA and USC, even if I only watch the first half. But I only got to make it through tomorrow because then it's winter vacation, and I got 9 days off. I think 9 days off. When I come back, it'll be like the last day of February or something like that. The last week of February will already be in March. Wow, closer and closer to getting out of this winter rut. So, Mike Kahn, any thoughts on that big matchup tonight out west? UCLA, USC. So far, UCLA has handled all challenges, and they've come out on top. And one thing I do like, Morgan Betts was predicted to be a top 3 pick in the draft, and she's eligible. But her sister signed to go to UCLA, and she wants to play 1 year with her little sis. So she's already said she's coming back next year. So I don't know if they have anybody else that's significantly contributing player that's a senior. But if they're playing well now and you get more and you get Betts back next year and you get her sister to join the team and you're not losing too many key players, they're going to be a real problem next year. But I like what UCLA's doing, but I'm going to take USC for the sole reason of people are doubting them now because they got a couple of losses, and playing in that conference, that's not easy, man. You got Ohio State, you got Michigan, you got that Big Ten conference has some good women's teams.
For the men, Alabama's number 2.
Yeah. So you got Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, somebody else, and then you had Duke mixed in. But I know there was 4 out of the top 5 were all SEC teams, so you got to run the gauntlet playing in that conference. It's not just a football gauntlet. They said it's the first time in history it's happened. 4 out of 5 top 5 teams from the same conference. Florida, because Florida just beat one of those big teams. Auburn. They beat Tennessee or Auburn. That God who got hurt, he's like 6'5", the light-skinned kid. He was already playing hurt, but he had like 35 against them. Like he gave it to Auburn. And then Auburn's player of the year, Johnny Kroom, didn't play big that game. I know he was coming back from injury. I want to say it was his second game, but he's been mentioned along with Cooper Kupp for player of the year on is because Auburn was number 1. He was their leader. He's a shot blocker. He's a dominant post. He rebounds. But he didn't play well against Florida. Florida's young bigs played well, and they got a major contribution from their guard. But I don't know if Mike's watching the game. There was only a couple of minutes left.
It's over.
Huh?
76-74.
It's over? Wow. So a 2-point game.
Only 4 seconds.
Yeah.
There's 4 seconds left. No.
I didn't know if they tied it up or maybe they got fouled in North Carolina. Hit some
Haley Cavan missed the layup.
So they probably inbounded it long, and she just dribbled it down. And I mean, there was only 4 seconds. It didn't take much time to.
But she had a layup. She missed the layup.
Yeah, she was probably contested or something, but she tried to score. But then there was another game. So I mean, were you surprised that South Carolina lost again? Did you think anybody besides UCLA? I thought that was going to be the wake-up call for South Carolina. I mean, they did lose the girl who can dunk. She's out for the year. She blew out her knee. But they're still 9 deep, and they got plenty of talent, and Don Staley's an excellent coach. But I didn't think they'd lose any more games after UCLA upset them early on.
I don't know, man. It's like anybody can be beat. So
I think UCLA gets beat tonight, and I think Juju has a big game. Kiki Iafrin has to be the one to step up. Everybody talked about she was an All-American candidate. She played in that conference last year. I don't know if she's deferring too much to Juju, but she's not playing aggressive. But she should be a walking double-double. She should be 14, 15 points and 10 rebounds every game. And obviously, Juju can't score as much as she did last year when you got that type of presence. But they also got a nice freshman that I want to say is close to double figures average. So there's other people who can score and help Juju this year. So she doesn't have to be a one-person team. But I'm going to say UCLA loses tonight, and USC will be back in the conversation. And if Juju has a big game, she'll be back in the Player of the Year honors. But it's amazing to me how all these talking heads on the sports circuit are talking about her and Paige Beckers like they fell off a cliff.
She's averaging 23.9 points a game and 6.7 rebounds.
Yeah, but last year she averaged 28 a game as a freshman.
But 23 is still good, bro.
But it's people only see a drop off.
But she's not by herself now.
That's my point. It's all right as long as other people are picking up the slack. I think the other two have to. Kiki Iafrin has to be more dominant so people can't double team and take the ball out of her hands. If she's getting double teamed, Kiki Iafrin's got a one-on-one matchup somewhere. She has to exploit that matchup so that, we can't keep doubling Juju because she's killing the one-on-one on the other side. Man, I'd put them on the same side of the court and put Iafrin in the post. And I said, you're going to – so now what? Iafrin's player is going to come up and double team her? Nah. If Iafrin got single coverage with all the hype we heard about her, and she's supposed to be a top 5 pick in the draft, she's got to pick up the slack as the number 2 and become more dominant, and that will help USC and Juju be more effective.
She's averaging 18.
Iafrin? I didn't think she was averaging that much.
18 and 8. That's a good one.
That's pretty good because that was like her numbers last year. I don't know. I thought that was more like her numbers last year. I didn't think that she was averaging that much, but so you can't say she's not doing nothing, but the more she does, the more she takes attention away from Juju because everybody's trying to. When I saw Notre Dame playing, they were trying to deny her the ball up court. They were trying to double her at half court.
They had to.
They needed to get the ball out of her hands, and then they weren't allowing her to get it back. You know.
That's crazy.
So South Carolina only fell to like number 3 in the country because they lost to the number 5 team on the road. So I want to say the women's top 5 because I'm trying to remember it. UCLA still number 1. Notre Dame's number 2 now. South Carolina's number 3. Or no, Texas is 3. South Carolina's 4, and USC's 5. Because I know UConn.
USC 6.
Huh?
USC 6.
Oh, so who's ahead of them?
Texas, South Carolina.
Oh, maybe Tennessee. No, Tennessee was kind of LSU. Because LSU, that was the other game I was going to mention. That was another.
LSU lost the other day.
LSU beat Tennessee the other day, didn't it?
Notre Dame.
LSU beat Tennessee 82-77. So they were number 6 at that time. Now let me see if we move to today. The AP top 25. South Carolina's at 4. Notre Dame's at 2. UCLA's at 1. But nobody else is playing. So number 1 and number 2 are playing.
Texas is number 3.
Oh, that's right. So UCLA, Notre Dame, then Texas, then South Carolina's
South
4.
Carolina 4.
LSU's 5, and UConn 6.
USC 6.
I mean USC.
UConn 7.
How long has it been? Gerald Walker, what's up? Thank you, sir. How long has it been since we saw 7 teams that have a legit chance at the national title in women's college basketball? And it's the same story in men's college basketball. Men don't have a one dominant team. Auburn's been playing well for most of the year, but that conference alone makes it impossible to win every game because we just mentioned how 4 out of the top 5 are, all from the same conference. So I think the rankings are pretty accurate. I don't think South Carolina should drop heavily for losing to a team that's now number 3 in the country. I think they were 5 and South Carolina was 2, and South Carolina dropped 2 spots and Texas moved up 2 spots,
South Carolina was 1, wasn't they? Oh,
no, because they lost to UCLA.
They were 2.
So that was their second loss. UCLA is still undefeated.
Yeah.
Now, South Carolina today is playing Florida, and I guess they're a little upset about that loss. They're up 30 at halftime.
LSU and Texas play on Sunday.
That's going to be a good game. But why? Because Texas is in that conference now. The same thing we just said about the men. SEC used to just be a power football conference. Now look at their men's and college basketball.
LSU only has 1 loss.
Yeah, they lost to South Carolina. In South Carolina. Because remember, that was the day they got snowed in, had to reschedule the game. But they're going to have to come back and play at LSU because you got to play everybody home and away. But the parity in women's college basketball and men's college basketball is so good right now. I like it when there's not one dominant team that you can say they're going to run roughshod over everybody. They're definitely going to the championship. I bet you if right now we had to pick 2 women's teams and 2 men's teams to be in the championship, there'd be a lot of people wrong. Like it'd be hard to get that matchup right because any of these teams in the top 7 are capable of beating somebody else.
Texas and Kentucky right now, 33-25 at the half.
Kentucky has a freshman or more.
They're number 8.
Yeah. Kentucky has a freshman girl that's a big. Let me see her name. G. Amore. Georgia Amore. She's a 5'6" guard. She has 9 points. and a rebound. But that's only at halftime. She has 9 points at halftime. But she's a problem.
She's only 5'6".
She's only 5'6". She's a god. But she's one of the top guards in the country, but she doesn't have the help at Kentucky or the TV exposure because their team's not ranked as high as
number 8.
Oh, they're number 8. Well,
number 8.
But they're not. We don't see them on TV.
No.
I see the you know why? Because those big TV contracts, the ratings are high because we're familiar with the South Carolinas, the LSU's. Even the Texas has surpassed Kentucky in women's basketball because they got the Madison Booker and they got the point guard Harmon who's back. She makes a big difference with the way they play because she can run the offense and she can break the pressure and get everybody where they need to get. So tennis, well, Auburn's not that good in women's college basketball right now. We already said Texas is beating Kentucky. I really want to see that game tonight. That's the only big matchup of ranked teams tonight. But like you said, Sunday, Texas plays LSU.
Yep.
And UConn plays South Carolina. Now, we've seen UConn play. We've seen South Carolina play. South Carolina's coming off a loss, and they're beating the hell out of somebody right now. But they're going to want to make a statement against UConn, and that game's in South Carolina. The freshman, Sarah Strong, has been the most consistent player. But I still think Paige Beckers is the best guy, one of the best guys in the country. I think she's getting outplayed by Hannah Hidalgo right now. But other than that, I just don't know if she's hit a rut, but her numbers aren't Paige Beckers' numbers. I don't know if she's playing conservatively. She's expected to be the number 1 pick.
Is she?
But her own coach called her out.
Is she playing nervous because she don't want to get hurt?
That's what I'm asking. But Gino Auriemma called. Now, Gino has never had a problem calling out his superstars. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi said it's a love-hate, sweet and sour candy relationship because 1 minute he's praising you and building you up, but he will not hesitate to break you down if he doesn't think y'all giving. They all loved playing for him, even Stewie and all them. Yeah, tough guy to play for, but we love him because he gets results and we like to win, and he's got us winning. So how do you feel? Paige Beckers is, I think, only averaging 14 a game this year or something like that. But it looks like Sarah Strong has been the most consistent, dominant player, and she's a freshman. I thought she'd be playing second fiddle to Paige Beckers, and I thought the big that came over from Egypt would be doing a little bit more dominant. Elafi.
Yeah.
But she played on the Olympic team, and she was she did pretty well. But this week we'll answer a lot of questions as far as the women's game goes. We're going to catch that game tonight. There's a couple of big games going on this weekend. We'll be keeping an eye on baseball. Free agency should be starting up. I think this weekend might be the legal tampering period, and next week we can start making offers or something like that.
Yeah.
But even though people make offers and Schefter reports on Tuesday when the legal season opens up, so-and-so is going to sign for this much money. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You can work out a deal, but you're not supposed to announce deals. But Schefter always knows the terms, the money,
He gets the first.
So I can't wait to go home, grab a little something to eat, and hopefully stay up and watch that game tonight because that's going to be a great game to watch. Anything else you want to add for this week? And I know it's 8:00. It's almost my bedtime again. I get
Yeah.
All right. Well,
there was something I seen earlier today, but now I can't remember. So I guess I'm good.
I thought somebody signed somebody as a coach.
Just the Saints.
NFL.
Just
The Saints made it official, but I thought somebody became a coordinator. Oh, what team was it? We'll have that information for you next week because I'm sure the free agent market's going to heat up, and most of the people for coaches are already hired. All the hot sought after people are already hired. I know Brian Flores is coming back as a third year for Minnesota now because all the head coaching vacancies are done. And I thought New Orleans might say, to hell with it. We just need somebody who can give us hope. And we know he can build up the defense, but I don't know if there was a strong enough offensive candidate out there that could have helped them. And they went with an offensive coach with Kellen Moore. So they're gonna kick the defense down the road. I think they had some decent dudes on defense, but they're getting a little old on offense, man. Their running backs getting old. Their offensive line.
I know he said
Andrews Pete's always hurt on the
he
offensive
said
line.
he's high on Derek Carr too. So
I forgot he's still there, but let's see if he can stay healthy.
can't
They
stay
got
healthy.
Chris Olave over there. So we'll see what they do in the draft. I don't know what they got for free agent money, but I'm ready to get out of here. Happy to finish another week with my man D Con.
yes, sir.
And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday from 6 to 8, same time, same station. So thanks for joining us tonight. Peace out, everybody.
Later.